Hey guys, it's Aaron back with another review for you. Today we're talking about the 2003 film Daredevil, based on the Marvel comic book of the same name. And so, first of all, this is the movie that started Ben Affleck 2, and that would be Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. The first time it's really kind of a weak character, at least in this portrayal. The first time we actually see him, he's falling on his face. No doubt he's a great hero. Um, then we kind of like it kind of jumps back and forth, flashback and whatnot. And the first flashback we see is him, as a kid, and he's getting bullied by a bunch of other kids. One of them, AJ Soprano. And I gotta say, if he didn't have Tony Soprano in his quarter, I doubt that AJ would be running around picking on little kids because he's kind of a bitch. We got our. Of course, we have to have our Stan Lee cameo, and he does another one in this. I mean, you gotta love Stan Lee. Um, so we see that in the film, and then while we're going through the fight, still, he straight Daredevil straight bitch slaps AJ Soprano with the walking stick, and that was funny. So I noticed a couple funny things in the film. Maybe not funny, but interesting. We had Kane Hodder and Hector Salamanca. It's like, ooh, it's gonna get bad, like evil bad. So we've got, Jason and, one of the biggest crime lords that we've seen in media portrayal, which being Hector Salamanca. And they don't really do much, they're there, but they really don't do much of anything. I kind of thought they'd be more of a pivotal role in this, but apparently it's not. The one thing I noticed is that another thing is it'll go in and out of being quiet and not, and I think that was supposed to be like, his hearing and whatnot, but it's not really made clear, and it's just kind of annoying, quite frankly. So you there's no secret for people that know me. I'm not the biggest Ben Affleck fan, and this just is a prime example of why I'm not a fan of his. I do like Jennifer Garner, but not in this film. I don't know exactly what happened, but it's just not good. I don't necessarily root for the bad guys in this one, but I don't mind if they win. I kind of like the darkness aspect of it, like the actual, like, the view of the film, but like other than that, there's not much to praise about it. Sorry, the acting isn't that great outside of Colin Farrell is just having a big old blast with it, and I think he probably read the script and went, yeah, this could buy me a Lamborghini, and I'll just have fun with it. Fuck it. And I think that's kind of where we're at, which is fine with me. And it's fun. He I don't know if there was enough scenery for him to chew on throughout the film, because he must have eaten up half of Hollywood Boulevard by the amount he was, crunching down. And I mean that in the best possible way. He's so funny, and I think that, like I said, I think he really just read this and was like, I'm going to make this my own thing, and I don't care what you say. And I don't think anyone had the balls to tell Colin Farrell no. Yeah, you gotta give a movie, any film that has a soundtrack with Nickelback, you gotta give them a point. Fuck you, they rock. I don't understand why people have so much hate on them. They're solid, man. And actually, speaking of that, the whole music actually is pretty decent. They did do a decent job with the soundtrack. And you gotta love and respect them for that, I guess. Because like when you got, even in bad movies, when people get things right, you gotta give them their credit, and they did that right. The soundtrack is good. The songs they got, and the score is actually pretty decent. We find out that Jennifer Garner is Elektra, and she's just this strong independent woman, which it's kind of the annoying style of that. There's nothing wrong with strong independent women, but when they're done like this, there is. And so we find out her name is like the funniest thing I've ever heard. Elektra Nachos. What? Elektra Nachos? Like, who you trying to impress? Beavis and Butthead over here? Come on now. Oh man, that was such a like when they said that is like, what are you doing? And so then they start fighting Colin Farrell. And what even is Colin Farrell? I mean, he's just so delightful in this. And like I said earlier, I just don't think he cares, or I don't know, or that was just the character choice he made because he's just there's the part where he's like, Bullseye, what? I think it's another one of those films you could just kind of cut this, just skip the film and just go check out the Colin Farrell scenes because they're great. Um, and there's this point where he towards the end he throws an offering plate and it hits Ben Affleck in the throat. And it's like the funniest shit I've ever seen. He's just like, it's so worth it because the rest of the film is just, oh man, the rest of the film is just a nightmare. Joe Pants is funny, but he's not a bad guy, so he's not used properly. Joe Pantoliano, for those that don't know. And at the end of the film, he calls himself a guardian devil. I don't care what you think you are, and if you're a good guy, that's great. But a guardian devil, really? I don't know. Overall, this film it worked up to the all the talk that it has. You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, "Oh, you got to see Daredevil," not for a good reason, but the infamy is still there, and I can see why because it is terrible. But I will say it's worth it for Colin Farrell. I laughed every time he was on screen, and I'll give a point also for Michael Clark Duncan. So those are my and then a point for atmosphere. So I'll give it 2 points, one for 2 actors and one for the atmosphere because the atmosphere was pretty cool, like I said. But yeah, I gave it 2 out of 10, man. This one's rough. But if you check it out, like I said, Colin Farrell's worth watching. But if you just want to check him out on YouTube and look up his best parts, then just do that. But anyway, guys, that's what I got for you on Daredevil. That's what I got to say about it. So like and subscribe and tell me what you think in the comments, and we'll come back with another review soon. All right, take it easy.